Okay, Commerce and Labor, Hobie, you want to hit the roll?
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
All right, I'm just going to take them numerically in the sheet. George, you're up with 274.
Mr. Chairman, can we use the microphone?
We can't hear you.
Oh, the microphone didn't.
What?
Microphone didn't come on, but anyway, that's on now. So this is dealing with motion picture theaters, and we work with the hard of hearing community who would like to have open caption on a large number of the showings. There are some that are done that way now.
It's open catching.
Open caption is basically, you have closed caption on your TV. Sometimes you can tap, you can do that, but you're making the decision. Open caption is something that shows to everybody. So it does the dialogue. It also describes the individual who's talking, gives them what their name is and some background to basically what's going on in the background of the movie and everything. What we've done is we've gotten the hard of hearing community and the motion picture theaters are negotiating with each other in good faith, and I think they will have a resolution by sometime this spring or summer. There's a report coming out that's on a study that's being done that will be out in another week or so, and I think this is something we can deal with next year, hopefully on a consensus basis. I would ask that this bill be carried over for the year.
Carried over? Okay.
Yes.
You've heard the motion. All those in favor of carrying the bill over for the year, vote aye. Those opposed, no. Carried over for the year.
Ayes 15, no zero.
All right. Next is Senator Edwards, Senate Bill 542.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Senate Bill 542 deals with crowdfunding. We passed this legislation in 2015 to sunset this year. It repeals the sunset provision so it can continue. The second thing it does, it allows debt and equity securities. And the third thing it does, it allows the issuer to be a non-Virginian so long as the people who purchase these securities are Virginians. Basically, it adopts the SE's Federal Securities and Exchange Commission's rules with regard to that fact that you can be an issuer in another state, but the purchasers have to be Virginians. And again, the rule in the federal system allows debt securities as well as equity securities. That's all it does.
All right. You all have heard the bill. Any questions first of the patron?
Yeah.
All right. Those who want to speak in support of the bill?
Which one is that? Right here. Oh, strike that line. Yeah, that, 186. 187. Go ahead. Is that here?
John?
Yeah, I guess we need to do that.
Yes.
Okay, lines 186 to 187, I want to strike that line. That,
What does that do?
what that does, there's a substitute actually here that we need to adopt, move to adopt the substitute.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and second to adopt. It's an amendment, right?
Yeah, it's an amendment.
He's got a, I haven't seen the substitute. Okay,
86, is that the?
substitutes before us,
This is-
Senate Bill 542. Do I hear a motion?
All in favor?
Second?
Second.
Okay, because you
All
don't
right,
need
all
it.
those in favor of adopting Senate Bill, the substitute Senate Bill 542, say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's adopted.
Now I'd like to move to delete on 205 and 206.
205 and what?
And 206, is that right?
If you want to delete,
No, it's 205 and 206, is that right?
well, what are you trying to do?
And Mr. Chair, is that's the last part you described, John, that takes out that equity securities and debt offerings,
I may have
Because
different instructions from you all.
It also, well, it adopts on lines 155, it says, for offering conducted in accordance with the SEC rules, may be made accessible to residents outside of Virginia, provided the sale of securities is made to residents of Virginia.
If you strike this,
Uh-huh.
you also need to strike this.
Okay, okay. All right, we need to strike, let's see, the lines 209 to 213. Right.
You're striking that?
Yes.
Senator Edwards?
Yes, to strike lines 209 to 213, which is an enactment clause.
All right. All right, we've got two
Keep that in?
potential amendments here. Do I hear a motion?
Yeah, that's fine. That
That is to strike lines 205 and 206
Yeah, okay.
and 209 through 213. Senator Bell. Okay. All those in favor of adopting those two amendments would strike lines 205, 206, and 209 through 213. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Mr. Chairman. Where did this bill come from?
Yeah.
And what's it do now with these amendments?
It came from Secure Futures, I believe. No? Yeah, you go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Ron Thomas, Director of the State Corporation Commission's Division of Securities and Retail Franchising. Going back a little bit in time, in 2015, crowdfunding was adopted in Virginia. We were the 16th state out of 31 states to allow for crowdfunding. There was a sunset provision in there, which that is now the subject of the bill to be repealed. And the other issue that I had concern with, the original version of this bill prohibited the commission section that prohibited debt offerings. The division did a study this summer and determined that we should include any type of security in the crowdfunding. So what the nature of the substitute was to do was to eliminate the prohibition from the commission's prohibition on debt offerings. So any security now can be filed for crowdfunding.
And
All right, any other
SEC rule.
questions?
Yeah.
All right, is there anyone
We're adopting the SEC rule on this issue. Federal.
Is there anyone in opposition to this bill?
Mr. Chairman, a question.
Senator Bell.
Question on lines 36, 37. You say any security which is listed or approved for listing on the New York Stock Exchange, American Stock Exchange. You didn't include the NASDAQ on that. Was there a reason why?
That's later on, but that's not part of this bill.
That's the existing language.
That's existing language.
So do you need to amend that since
No.
you say it's covered later on?
It's covered by commission's rule.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, my question. All right, now what does this bill exactly do?
Well, what it does, it repeals the sunset provision.
Okay.
And secondly, it allows debt offerings as well as equity offerings.
Okay,
And it allows the issuer to be a non-Virginian, so long as the purchaser is a Virginian. Crowdfunding is limited to people in Virginia for Virginia investments, small investments.
okay, there's somebody behind you that wants to offer an opinion.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Doomstra. I'm a co-owner and manager of Secure Futures, a solar developer based in Stanton, Virginia. To answer your question about how this bill is used for crowdfunding, we've recently just actually closed our first crowdfunding campaign, which helped partially raise funds for 5 solar projects at tax-exempt institutions in Virginia. And we'd like to see this bill passed because it'll remove the sunset clause so that it won't die, but as well as offer the subordinated debt that there's mentioned before, as well as adopt Rule 147A, which makes it easier to use the internet for crowdfunding campaigns.
SEC. Yeah, federal SEC.
Federal SEC recommended this in their reports to legislators in 2018 and 2019. Personally, I helped market this campaign. It was a pain to try and do it online. There's a lot of stipulations of what you can and can't say, so I think this would make it a lot easier to help us raise more money and help other small businesses help grow their businesses through crowdfunding as well. Thank you.
Where does it end the sunset clause?
If you look at the, yeah,
207? Okay. I see it. Okay. All right, bills before us. Senator Barker.
Yes, in these situations, generally, I've noticed that we usually don't end sunsets, we extend them. Is that something that we should consider doing here?
Wait, usually what?
Usually, we extend if it's 2022 now, we'll extend it to 2024 or 2025, rather than just repealing the sunset altogether.
Well, we've repealed sunsets before.
Well, we do sometimes, but
Yeah.
in many
Well,
instances, not so.
You want to make that motion?
With,
I've seen us repeal sunsets.
okay.
I'd rather repeal it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we won't have this bill again. All right.
As
Is there a
amended. Second.
All right, there's been a motion to report Senate Bill 542 as an amendment in the nature of a substitute, as amended. All those in favor vote aye, those opposed nay. All right, the bill is reported.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have another one. Yeah, thank you.
Hold on. 953.
Yeah, it's 953 is very simple. Put it in for the Roanoke Valley Broadband Authority. It allows the Broadband Authority Board to have either 5 members as now, or it adds or 7 members, 5 members or 7 members at their option. That's all it does. Allows them to have 2 more members if they want to. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, would this apply to more than Roanoke Valley?
The Roanoke Valley would like to be a member of the Broadband Authority. Yeah. We have a local authority.
But as I said, would this apply to more than the Roanoke Valley broadband?
Oh, yes, yeah, here it is. Guy Rowling is here.
Yeah, thank you, Senator. Mr. Chairman, my name is Guy Rowling. I represent the Roanoke Valley Broadband Authority. To answer your question, Senator Deeds, it applies statewide. And there's been a lot of interest, not only from Roanoke Valley, but from other broadband authorities to accommodate requests from members of their community who would like to serve on the board. This merely gives those authorities the option of inviting 2 additional members.
Yeah. Okay, it's pretty simple. All right, do I hear a motion? There's a motion, second to report Senate Bill 953. All those in favor vote aye, opposed nay. All right, it's reported.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
All right. Senator Bell, are you familiar with Senator Boysko's? Okay.
Chairman, I believe there's a substitute.
Anybody seen a copy? Got it coming. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this is Bill SB 665, updates the Electronic Identity Management
We need to
Act.
adopt the substitute.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Chair.
So All right, there's a motion.
Second.
And a second is adopt the substitute to Senate Bill 665. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, it's before us.
Mr. Chairman, what this bill does, it's a fairly simple bill. It really takes what's called the Federated Digital Identity System, which is a way of electronically identifying when you do transactions online, or you send, where you ever see the electronic documents where you sign electronically, and it complies us to the standards for that. Basically, by doing this, it will make sure that we're in compliance with what other standards are in different states. It also will allow it really helps Virginia businesses because we need to make sure that we're complying with where this standard has gone. And all it really does in this bill is just put in the definitions so it clarifies what the different elements of this are. If you have any questions, if they're easy, I'll try to answer them. I think Senator Norman said he wanted the hard ones, so I'm happy to pass those to him. But I'll do my best to answer them. We had an expert witness here yesterday, and unfortunately he had to catch a flight this afternoon when the bill wasn't heard yesterday. He did leave a letter, and basically a fairly long one, so I'm not going to read it all to you, but basically it just says that what this does expands the scope of the ability of the Commonwealth to set minimum protections for online identities and personal data. And by adding these terms and definitions, it makes sure that it clarifies the code and it's easier for businesses and people to protect their identity. So with that, Mr. Chair, if there are any questions.
Are there any questions of the patron's substitute? All right. Anyone in support of the bill? Anyone opposed? Anyone care?
Second.
Senator Servell, do you have a question?
No.
No, I just remember when I was on the All-Important Science and Tech Committee in the other body, and we passed this originally.
All right. There's been a motion and a second to report the substitute to Senate Bill 665. All those in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay. All right. Passed. Done. All right. Senator Lewis.
Mr.
You
Chairman,
and Senator Marsden.
I'm going to ask or move that Senate Bill 785 be carried over till 2021. Thank you, Senator Deeds. Woke him up.
Ringing endorsement.
It's not on my schedule. Hold on.
75, is that? Is that Dick?
I got 562. Yeah, it says 562. Oh, that's House. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay, didn't see it on the other page. All right, and what do you want to do, carry it over? All right, you heard the motion by the sponsor. The motion and a second to carry over Senate Bill 785. All those in favor of carrying it over for the year, vote aye. Okay, Senator Marsden, you have the distinction of having the last Senate bill of the year before this committee.
Oh, joy.
You're not kidding.
All right. Just had my hand up to my face. And what I was hiding in my hand was this.
Take this.
It's what's called a Juul. It's a closed-end nicotine delivery device. It's got 59 milligrams of nicotine in there per milliliter. A lot of the products you see in the stores are more in the high teens, low 20s kind of thing for help adults quit smoking. And so that's what this bill is about. And what we're trying to do here is take the same model we have for alcohol. You know, when we have low-volume alcohol, beer, wine, you can sell it at a convenience store, you can sell it at a grocery store. But when you have high alcohol content, we reserve that for the ABC store. We don't want people to have a casual ability to get a hold of those. It's a specialized trip that you have to take. It discourages minors from getting a hold of these things. And, Mr. Chairman, I am on the Healthy Youth Foundation, which we have spent $190 million since 2001 to reduce cigarette smoking among minors. And we did it. We took it down from 28.5% youth smokers down to 6%. And on the latest national study, guess what? With these things right here, which I spent $57 on today, so when you vote, consider that. That with these things, we're back up to 27% and climbing. These things, you can get these at a 7-Eleven. You can get them anywhere. They come in two sizes, 3%, 5%. One of them gives off something like 23% nicotine, or 23, excuse me, milligrams per milliliter. And the 5% one, which is this one, gives off 59. This pod that I put in here that I paid for, you put that in here, it's more than a pack of cigarettes of nicotine. Now, it doesn't have the carcinogens in it, and I appreciate Senator Evans' bill yesterday to get the flavors out of this because they do appeal to kids. This is called Virginia Tobacco. That's the title of what this is. And so all I'm asking here is that if you have a product, and I'm flexible on the number, if you have a product over 20 milligrams per milliliter, then it ought to be sold at a specialty store that derives 50% or more of its income from tobacco-related products, which means a vape store. Adults will still have access to this. They'll be able to drive and go there. Be a little tougher for kids. You're going to have to get somebody to drive them there, find somebody to go in and make a straw purchase, or maybe work that out. It's the whole idea of the bill is designed to make this less convenient for kids to get a hold of. 70% of these rascals right here are used by kids. 70%. Adults use other things. And the advantage to this thing is that you can sit in English class with your mouth, with your fist over your mouth and sucking on this thing, and you're Joe Cool in high school. And this is hitting big time in middle school. You're talking 11, 12, 13-year-old kids are doing this stuff. All I'm asking is that we move this stuff to where it belongs, into a vape store, and get it the heck away from our kids. I spent 50 years in the juvenile justice business. I've been through PCP. I've been through cocaine a couple of times, heroin 3 times, PCP, LSD, you name it, and now we come up with this. We continually find new ways to allow our kids to hurt themselves, and that's what the bill does.
You
and
smoked all that?
Huh?
You smoked all that?
Mr. Chairman, I faked it. I didn't take this thing down, but if anybody, I'm up for offers if this is your thing. But this is the preferred tool of young kids. This doesn't give off any vapor. They take it to school. They use it at school. Kids can get sick on these things. It's expensive, and it's just not a product that we need to make available in convenience stores. Still available to adults at a vape store, of which there are plenty in the Commonwealth. And that's the bill, Mr. Chairman.
You have a question? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we just outlaw it? Just outlaw it.
I wish I could get away with that one, but it does have a legitimate purpose, Senator Edwards. These devices can be used by adults to kick the cigarette habit, but for young people, this is just a way of getting high. They're not trying to get off cigarettes. Only 6% of the kids in the Commonwealth were smoking when these things were introduced, and now you got 27% using these guys right here.
Mr. Chairman, I've been visited by some convenience store people who think you shouldn't take it out you sell cigarettes at convenience stores. Why not this?
Well, Senator Edwards, I think convenience stores were just doing just fine before they invented these things, and I think they'll just do just fine without them. There's still a number of products that they're going to be able to sell that are just under the limit for vaping, and a lot of those are the things that you've seen, the cloud of vapor that comes out when somebody are using these things. But this is a closed end, no vapor, no nothing. You're just sucking down pure nicotine.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Evans.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to point out to Senator Marston, and I share your concern about kids getting access to these things, but kids have moved on from those. You're not trendy today. There's a new product called Puff Bars, which are disposable, and adults are using those closed systems, but the kids are using disposable systems. I don't know where they're sold. This is like a morphing business, and that's not what they're using anymore. And you're right, though, that they're toxic, and I don't think they're suitable for adults to get high, or to use, but we can't ban the whole product, and I don't know that we're doing it here. We're just kind of moving it to a separate store without really a well-regulated regime.
I understand, Senator Eben, and I think the FDA is going to be coming out with some rules at some point in time on these things. And but right now, we have an obligation to protect our children, and I think unless we act with this, it's not going to get there.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Bell.
Two questions. First one, I know you said that the number was up for debate, the 20 milligrams that's referenced on line 21. Are there any of those closed-in systems sold that are below 20 milligrams, or?
I'm not sure on closed-end systems. Of course, this is dealing with, the milligrams per milliliter of nicotine, period. But I know there are some that go below 20. There's some between 20 and 30. I'd be fine if we could just make the progress of making the low bar here 30 instead of 20. I'd accept that amendment.
Mr. Chairman, follow on?
Sure.
Would you be able to buy these online, or would the only place you can buy them would be in a vape store if this passes?
I don't know if there's anything you can't buy online these days, Senator Bell.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Chairman, I would just say, speaking to the bill, I appreciate where you're going. I've had a number of constituents reach out to me, and this is the way they were able to quit smoking. They find this less unhealthy than smoking, and I'm concerned if we take this away from them, it's going to hurt.
Well, this is not taking this away from. There'll still be numerous products that can be sold. They just won't have this kind of a lollapalooza of nicotine that these things possess, these closed ends.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Obenshain.
just in response to Senator Bell's bill, I just looked up on Juul.com, and you can go there and order them online.
Senator Obenshain, if I might, I'm hoping that Mom may be able to interrupt that when they're delivered to the door when the kids are in school.
All right, is there anyone who wants to speak in favor of the bill? Is there anyone opposed to the bill?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Chris White with Vector, here on behalf of Juul Laboratories. And Mr. Chairman, this is a very serious issue, and no one underage should have access to or use any tobacco or nicotine-containing product, period. However, the bill before you this afternoon is not the solution to dealing with this very serious problem of underage access and usage. First, removing my client's product from retail stores and limiting it to specialty retail facilities, which is essentially a vape shop, is problematic. It singles out one product that you have to be 21 years old to purchase, but leaves other products in those stores that you have to be 21 years old to purchase as well, like alcohol and traditional tobacco. This approach also is going to limit access to electronic nicotine delivery systems for adults that are trying to make the transition from combustible cigarettes. I would argue that while there's probably lots of vape shops and specialty retail stores in Northern Virginia, in the more rural parts of the state, it's going to be problematic for adults who are 21 years old to have access to the product and make the transition. The bill also contains a nicotine cap, and to Senator Bell, to your question, no, we do not provide a product in the United States that's 20 milligrams or less. So essentially, everybody who would be making this transition under this bill would not have access to the product. Nicotine caps limit adult smokers from being successful at making this transition. And I think you mentioned earlier about the Food and Drug Administration. The U.S. FDA is the federal agency that's responsible for the regulation of tobacco products, including nicotine vapor products. And they have a process for determining whether they are appropriate for the protection of the public health. The FDA has been preparing a rigorous science and evidence-based pathway, and nicotine vapor products must go through to be approved for sale in the United States. This process, which starts with the filing of a pre-market tobacco product application, or a PMTA, will determine whether a nicotine vapor product may remain on the market. Any nicotine vapor product that is not submitted to the FDA for review by May 12 will no longer be able to be sold in the United States.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Spruill.
question. He was talking about trying to save kids, not adults. I know you're working for your client. Do you care about kids?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Spruill, absolutely, and I'm glad you asked that question because the next 3 points directly appeal to that. In 2020, the Virginia General Assembly passed legislation that was patroned by Senator Norman to raise the age of purchasing tobacco and e-cigarettes to 21. Secondly, Juul has removed voluntarily all of its flavor pods off the market. The only flavors they have available are nicotine and menthol, which mirror what a traditional cigarette is. We've suspended all of our advertising through broadcast, print, and digital channels. We've suspended our social media promotion. We work collaboratively
Mr.
with
Chairman?
our...
Mr. Chairman, question? Then will you have a problem then, if we follow Senator Norman's lead and those, whatever you call them, things, juror, whatever it is, that, for kids to be 21 years old to get those? That type he's talking about?
Mr. Chairman, Senator Spruill, the law of the land is that you have to be 21 years old to purchase these products, period. That's the law in Virginia. It's the law. The federal government followed suit. Two other points I'd make, Mr. Chairman, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. We're working collaboratively with our retail partners to put in things called Retail Access Control System, which is a very high level and robust age verification system, and we also make sure that we limit bulk purchasing. And finally, Mr. Chairman, we do a wide range of secret shopper programs. We conduct 2,000 secret shopper programs a month. If we find a retailer that is selling our product to underage individuals, we implement a 3 strikes and you're out program. We no longer would provide our product to that retail
You
facility.
do stuff almost all the time with these people behind you.
30 seconds.
I'm done, thank you.
Just come up and state whether you're for or against.
Briefly, Mike O'Connor with Petroleum Marketers and Convenience Stores. Sorry to have to oppose Senator Marsden on this bill. I know there's nobody more sincere about this. Just make one brief point. We are in a new age because of Senator Norman's bill last year, and it's just ironic that the self-same people that would be benefited by this bill, the vape shops, testified against Senator Norman's bill and tried to carve themselves out so they could still sell to 18-year-olds last year.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Steve Pearson. I'm here on behalf of Reynolds American, which was one of the first and most active marketers of e-cigarettes. Reynolds has maintained a high-quality product, high standards from the very beginning, and has limited their marketing, for example, to this country rather than China. They manufacture the closed systems and sell them exclusively to people over 21. The law is right now, in terms of internet sales, I think Senator Bell asked a question about that. The law is right now that you've got to follow 2 separate criteria in order to have legally effectuate an internet sale. You've got to use a commercially available database that shows that your purchaser is over the age of 21. And then on delivery, you must get a signature from an adult with proof of ID showing that they're 21. My client tells me that the strength standard contained in this bill is something that nobody can meet, so that in effect it would become a ban on e-cigarettes. And they do form a viable piece of the quit smoking movement in the sense that people who smoke cigarettes can migrate to this and do much less health damage, get their nicotine, and as long as they're 21, it's a legal product that Reynolds would like to be able to continue to market. Thank you.
Next.
Mr. Chairman, Mark Bowles representing Sheetz Convenience Stores. We have about 85 stores across the Commonwealth, employ about 2,500 folks. Last year, we had about 40 million in-store visits. We had 1 underage violation. We oppose this bill. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Jody Roth on behalf of Virginia Retail Federation. We have a longstanding policy of opposing any product ban, industry-specific product ban or tax. I also would like to echo the comments of Mr. White when he talks about the rural communities and the mom and pops in those areas that would be hurt by this. Thank you.
15-second close, Mr. Chairman, is that I'd be willing to move this up to 30, which I think would drag in a number of products. And I would so move that that the bill be changed from a minimum of 20 to, or excuse me, a maximum of, a minimum of 20 milligrams per milliliter. To change that to 30.
And I'll second it.
Senator Spruill. Okay, it's been a motion to report. First off, is there any opposition to this? No. Other than the people we've heard from? Anyone supporting it? Okay. All right.
Mr. Chairman, his motion was to amend from 20 to 30.
To 20 to 30, which would
Okay.
create a
And I
larger
second this
market
motion.
for adult
The
products.
amendments before you, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, now the bill as amended is before you.
Move the report as amended.
Second.
And a motion and a second to report Senate Bill 952 with an amendment. All those in favor, vote aye. Those opposed, nay.
Ayes 5, noes 9, 1 abstention.
Yeah, glad to close out.
Okay. I think that's pretty much it for at least this week. The onslaught starts next week. Senator Howe, it's yours.